What's up, everyone? This is Eflex, and welcome to another A Producer's Approach. In this video, we're going to be looking at a Auvic song featuring Pipo Fernandez, Indignation, and this song is definitely one of my favorite Auvic songs. So we'll get into that. So the basic structure for this video is going to be an intro, kind of the breakdown and my perspective. And then there's going to be an outro section where I kind of just give my opinion of the song and ramble for some time. So for the intro part of the song, I'm just going to be talking about this song by Auvic, Indignation, and how I found it and what it kind of means to me. So basically, this song I found back in 2015 when it released on Xkito's channel. I can't remember if there were previous Auvic songs already releasing, but I was really already into Auvic style, and Indignation is just one of the better representations of Auvic style. I don't know, this is a song I go back to and listen to quite often when, I don't feel inspired. I want something to listen to that, kind of uplifts me a little bit and makes me feel kind of nostalgic for when I was really into listening to EDM music back in 2015. So I don't know, I just get like really kind of like goosebumps almost like every time I listen to the song. And it just almost feels like, a must do in terms of reviewing and just kind of breaking the song down and giving my perspective. So if you guys haven't heard this song, really great song. I'll link it down below, but as well, if you don't feel like pressing the link, you can also look up the song on YouTube. It's on Xkito's channel here. Pretty sure you can find it somewhere else, but Xkito is usually like the first one that pops up, so you can just listen to it there. And Auvic, I've heard his electro style, but this was probably the first time I heard his glitch hop style, and it's just fantastic. I don't know if I've heard many other glitch hop songs in this fashion where they have vocals quite like this. And for those of you that don't know what glitch hop is a subgenre of EDM, and a lot of the glitch hop music is made in 110 beats per minute, or BPM. It could vary, but I think the more traditional and standard BPM most producers have pretty much settled on is 110 BPM from what I noticed. But not many glitch hop songs have vocals. A lot of them is just like a kind of slower version of Complextro, so a lot of like different wubs and stuff. I guess you can almost compare it to like a different, like a slowed down version to dubstep as well, with how many sounds are used in most glitch hop songs. But there's like a lot of different glitches and sound effects used in glitch hop, so you don't normally find vocals in a glitch hop song. So this one I would say is a little bit unique for glitch hop, but it's still really good. Amongst one of my top favorite songs of Auvic's. I mean, he has a lot of good songs, but this is definitely one of the songs I would say probably like my top 5 songs from him. So definitely check this one out. But we'll start the video now and we'll start breaking down Auvic's song Indignation.
Watching the world rise up in flames, seeking a light to guide the way. We gotta fight to save the day, counting on us to win the fray.
Alright, really cool section. So it's just the beginning, and like there's a white noise coming in to kind of introduce the song, like a introduction transitionary sound. I do that in my songs too, just to give a gap from, instead of starting right on the beat, it gives like a little, like maybe measure or like a second gap to where it, gives a transitionary sound into the song. And then right straight away, you have the vocals come in along with the piano playing the chords. Really nice pairing. The vocals have, reverb and some delay, and you heard the delay kind of right where I paused it, where it was just kind of, you could hear like the echoing effect. But it's just like a really nice pairing, a really simple pairing with like, piano chords and the vocal, which is really nice, which gets me every time. And now it kind of introduces the synth section into the beginning of the drop, or into the beginning of the break section before the build up and then the drop. So this should be a really fun journey. Pretty cool. So it kind of transitioned to the vocals and a more natural sounding piano into more of a Auvic kind of synth sounds. I almost think of his synth sounds as a little bit 8-bit-ish, but yeah, I mean, you have his lead sound playing with his chord progressions. I think it's the same chord progression from the piano, he just kind of switched sounds and transitioned it. And yes, that's pretty much it. Kind of the transition from the vocals into his own kind of lead section. I don't know if it's the exact same notes or augmented notes from the vocals, but it sounds pretty similar in at least the notation from the lead to the vocals. So pretty cool. I mean, I like it. Pretty cool. So there's like cheer 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 cheer, kind of that song, almost like a vocal chop, kind of building up into this drop. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'll just kind of go back and play a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can kind of hear that. It's really kind of low in the background. It's almost like a vocal chop with the snares kind of starting to build up a little bit. They don't build up as intensely as some other EDM songs, but you could kind of tell there was like the snare build up, the leads were playing, and then there was like a white noise sound introduced, and then here it transitions into the drop, which is really cool because instead of like a transitionary drum, he kind of has the vocals come in first and then the percussion is going to hit after that and all the other sounds. So really cool kind of, I guess you would call it like an off drop. It's kind of like what the Crab Rave song did in the second drop, where it kind of had the synths play and then the kick comes in after, a little bit after, to kind of give it, I guess, an off drop. So it's a cool little off drop using like the transitioning of the vocals from Pipo Fernandez. So really cool. Man, so there's a lot going on in that section. So basically, the percussion style for glitch hop is very similar to dubstep, where it's like a kick and a snare. So a kick on the one and a snare on the third beat. It's slowed down, but I mean the pacing and the flow of it still feels really, fast. It feels faster than 110 BPM, but doesn't feel as fast as 140 BPM. But you still get the flow there, but it's kind of the same percussion style. But there's like a lot of things happening that Auvic had to balance. So he had to balance a lot of his own personal sound design sounds. Then he has the vocals playing in the drop along with those sounds. And then there was some kind of one shot almost saw waves mixed in there. So I mean, he kind of had to balance quite a few sounds. Like there was no lead. The vocal kind of came in as the lead. And then there was some high end to some of those wub sound design sounds he had playing at the same time. But and the saws, but I mean, there was a good enough separation, but I mean, he had to make the percussion clear, the vocals clear, and then the kind of wubs on the bottom, I almost want to say like clear, so they all had to have their separate space, all playing at the same time, and some of those sounds can sometimes be in the same space, so you have to know how to equalize and cut out certain frequencies to give everything its own space. Maybe throw a compressor to put a certain sound in the forefront, but for the most part, like, you kind of have to give each sound its space, and that's probably the best representation, because there's probably like at least 6 or 7 sounds going on at the same time in that section. I say at least because he probably would have more, but I don't know. I never really saw a breakdown video for this song, so I mean, I can only imagine there's at least probably 6 or 7, including the vocal and stuff like that, and the percussion. So definitely like a really complicated section. And this is like a more melodic take on what glitch hop normally is. Glitch hop normally is not this melodic. There's usually more wubs and sound design in the song, so this is a more melodic representation of glitch hop.
Watching the world rise up in flames, seeking a light to guide the way. We gotta fight to save the day, counting on us to win the fray. Fighting the darkness all around, calling the soldiers stand.
Really cool section here. So right before this part, you hear the plucks play with the vocals. A little bit different than the beginning. In the beginning, he had a piano play with the vocals to kind of start off the song. So it's a nice little bit of a contrast between the beginning and this part. And then there's like a white noise sweep into kind of a more like a wider pluck, I guess you would say. Like the wider pluck, like you could feel kind of like there's more low end added to the pluck sounds. There's almost like more weight to it, and then there's kind of like this oscillating sound. I almost want to say like a vocal chop or something kind of playing in the background in this part as well with the vocals, and the vocals seem a little more full, so he might have doubled the vocals in a sense, so you can, you know, hear it in more stereo wide, so in your headphones or in your speakers it sounds fuller. But yeah, I mean, I just noticed kind of that weird kind of oscillating sound kind of playing in the background. I guess maybe as like a vocal chop to give some flow or some high end in the background.
We are the chosen, we the true. Right into battle, we'll break through. Let's go.
Man, this section's really cool. So basically going back to when it was about to drop, it's a bit different. There was no percussion to really build up. Kind of built up with the plucks, with that little bit kind of like that noise kind of in the background. Maybe is kind of a difference in the riser, and then there's a little bit of white noise, and then the kick just hit, and then it just kind of dropped. Like it just transitioned straight from there. There was not really a build up as, you know, building up into the first drop, and then into this drop where there's more emphasis on the lead sound. So he's playing like a solo, kind of like a lead, kind of like a his own lead solo over the bass. So the bass is still there, it's prominent, but it's not like the emphasis. Like you hear the sounds, but they're not as prominent as the lead sound. And then he kind of incorporates the vocal a little bit, like let's go, and then like he also had that kind of drop as well. And going back to the beginning of the drop, he had that, but then he also had like different iterations, kind of like I think some around here, yeah, where he says we'll break through. It's kind of like playing at the same time, kind of introduced at the same time, and then kind of transitions and then goes into there. It's pretty cool. And then you have him harmonizing kind of later on with the lead in the background, which is really cool. It's always really cool to hear vocals harmonizing with the lead. Normally, in like most EDM songs I've noticed. I don't know if this is other songs as well, but most EDM songs, because the lead and the vocals take up the same frequency ranges, which is like the mid and the higher ends, normally the vocal plays and then the lead will replace it. So you don't normally hear the vocal and the lead always playing at the same time because it's really hard to balance those two since they're kind of sitting in the same area. They would almost contrast with each other and kind of um how would I say this? They would kind of cancel each other out almost in the sense if you don't balance them correctly. Like they're just both playing, so your ears won't know what to focus on when they're both playing if you don't mix it correctly. So it sounds like he lowered the harmonizing note with the lead, but it's just a really nice touch because when you can do that correctly, the harmonization's awesome. So this section is pretty cool as well, but we'll go back a couple more sections, I think, to about over here. Yeah, so the previous section here, the lead kind of was playing, then it transitioned into this section where you hear more of the bass and the vocals playing. And then later on here, it's cool, like he adds kind of like background kind of violin almost sounding sounds to give kind of a more orchestral feel, introduce another new sound, but more so in the background. So it's not super prominent, but you kind of hear it, little strings in the background just playing, just to give another type of texture in the song and just, introduce a new sound so it gives the flow of the song a little bit better and give it more of like an orchestral theme, almost like. So that part was cool in terms of the transition. It actually sounded like a reverse cymbal. I talked about this technique before. It's where you take a cymbal sound, you reverse it in the DAW, and then you put it and you use it almost as like a riser or an uplifter to, build up that kind of white noise and tension. The other sounds that you used didn't really sound like a cymbal, but that certain sound right here transitioning to me sounded more like a cymbal than it did like a white noise kind of riser uplifter. Cool. So yeah, there's no real outro to the song, and going back to the lead part. So it's pretty cool when that cymbal kind of came up, there was kind of a gap in between where the vocal stopped, and then like Auvic just came in with his lead and did his solo, and that kind of played the rest of the drop to outro the rest of the song. So that is my interpretation of Auvic and Pipo Fernandez song Indignation. Overall, the song is great. I mean, Auvic's kind of a genius for balancing all these sounds. I mean, I don't know how do you balance all these sounds just in one song. I mean, it's hard enough to balance glitch hop, let alone add lead sounds and vocals to it. So it's definitely interesting. And you also notice how the balancing of all the different sounds was working. So like he had a lot of the glitch hop sounds, so there were a lot of wubs, a lot of different one shots, and he just balanced that with vocals and leads, which is pretty tough because, you know, with clashing frequency ranges and the EQ range and stuff, that takes a lot of, you know, knowledge on different sound spaces and stuff like that. And also the structure of the song is a little bit more unique, kind of like the last Auvic song we broke down and I looked at. So his structure is definitely more unique. I do like that. It's not the more traditional EDM song. I guess if you're going to compare it to anyone, it would be kind of like a more traditional Martin Garrix song. I guess Animals like is the more traditional kind of build up, drop, stuff like that, whereas this song has a more unique kind of build and transition. So overall, this song is great. Again, with an Auvic song, you won't go wrong either, kind of like Noise Storm and a few other artists you'll see me talk about in these videos. Like their music, they don't release too many bad songs that at least I don't like. So they're pretty solid and consistent with their style and sound. So overall, if you like this video, please leave a comment down below whether you like it or dislike it. Hit that like button, subscribe if you like the content, and if you like these videos, feel free to let me know what you think. And overall, I hope you guys check this song out and more of Auvic songs out, and Excudo as well while you're at it. So have a good one, everyone. Peace.